Welcome back. 400 new positions in areas like advanced manufacturing and supply chain management will open in the next 5 years. This will be at the expanded Singapore facility of VDL Enabling Technologies Group, a Dutch company that supplies key equipment parts to major semiconductor players. Even with current tariff uncertainties, the firm is aiming to reach $1 billion in revenue in the next few years. Nashra Rohim with more.
$100 million. That's how much this Netherlands-based manufacturing firm is pumping in to grow in Singapore over the next 5 years. With more space in this new building, it can produce 30% more. It's also bringing in new products from Europe with the support of the Economic Development Board, or EDB, to strengthen the local ecosystem.
The product that we are bringing in are generally high-tech products, something that requires high precision, high accuracy. And for that, we also need very high level of technology from our supply chain. Two things that we can do with the local supply chain. One is, of course, the increase in business. The second they need to invest in technology as well to be able to participate in the program.
This machine has been up and running for about a few months. Now it makes parts that will go into making semiconductor equipment. And it's new hardware like this that will boost efficiency and also produce higher quality products. And what this means for local suppliers is that they have to improve their processes to meet the higher standards. One firm, which treats and cleans components, has automated further by working with VDL for the last 2 decades. Its productivity is expected to grow some 50% by year-end.
I think VDL have also sort of forced us or pushed us to be more systematic in the way we approach our operation. Because we have to build out the scale, we have to build out the technical capabilities. And on top of that, we have to make sure that we are consistently providing them good quality products, time and time again.
The EDB highlighted that the nation's semiconductor sector makes up about 7% of its GDP and employs some 35,000 people.
It is a comprehensive ecosystem powered by a strong public-private partnership. And we will continue strengthening this ecosystem and enable partners like VDL ETG to thrive as the global semiconductor demand grows and as the industry evolves.
To keep up with changes, training opportunities for students will also open up.
And now let's return to the outlook for Singapore's manufacturing sector, which has contracted for a second straight month in May. I'm now speaking to Associate Professor Goh Pui Guan from the Department of Analytics and Operations at NUS Business School. Professor Goh, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's get your view on the May PMI data. Potential bottoming out or a sign of prolonged downturn in manufacturing?
Well, for now, it looks like a bottoming out. And I guess a piece of good news, generally speaking, as there was just expectation was slowed down earlier on, but this could probably have been alleviated by the reversal of the US tariffs. So we are seeing positive growth in the backlog of orders, imports index, supply deliveries, and that also implies that supplies are currently catching up with the orders.
What specific indicators?
However, whether this actually...
Professor Goh, go ahead.
Sorry. So whether this, of course, continues in the future, we'll see, right? After the July deadline that was mentioned in the news earlier.
Okay, so how's Singapore's manufacturing sector performing compared to other countries in the region and globally?
Well, if you look at the regional countries in ASEAN and Asia, generally there has been a slowdown across all the countries to varying degrees, of course. But certainly the trend of a slowdown is there, and and of course that's due to the trading environment. There are some bright spots here and there in terms of, like, for example, growth in India and Philippines, and that could also be because these are the areas where perhaps they are benefiting from some of these trends in the changing trade environment.
Given that electronics forms the bulk of Singapore's manufacturing output, what do the current trends indicate for this crucial sector?
Well, I think for the electronics sector, for Singapore, we'll actually, probably continue to do well in the areas of advanced manufacturing, and some of these trends have actually been put in place in terms of creating all these capabilities for smart manufacturing, advanced capabilities, and moving some of the low cost type manufacturing to the regional countries. So in that sense, the nature of what we are producing and the kind of skill sets and the kind of industry that we are attracting is also changing in terms of the mix, and that has been happening over the last few years.
And Singapore has business parks dedicated to advanced manufacturing and semiconductors. We saw a cautious approach earlier to hiring in this sector. Is the global uncertainty around Trump tariffs going to affect employment in this area?
Well, there's probably some form of wait and see as well in terms of employment, because companies would have to figure out what will happen in the short term and medium term. So some of these some of these trends will not be clear until perhaps in the next few months when the sort of tariff situation shapes out in a clearer form.
But beyond tariffs, Professor Goh, what other geopolitical or economic factors could influence hiring and investment decisions in Singapore's advanced manufacturing?
Sure. So, for example, if you look at the diversification that companies have been undertaking for the last few years, right, especially in critical industries like semiconductors or pharmaceuticals, and you can see, in fact, that many of these companies would actually come to Singapore because it's seen as a neutral place where they can locate their factories and they can tap on the skilled workforce over here. So, in that sense, there is that growth opportunity from there. So there is a technological component where the companies would look at more capital intensive type businesses and more more technology intensive type businesses over here. So some of these, of course, some of these factors, of course, it's not just to geopolitics, as you pointed out. So some of this is, in fact, as a result of changes in technology, the use of AI, for example, or the use of advanced technologies like robotics and 3D printing, and that will also change the way that manufacturing is being done over here and in some parts of the region as well.
Despite some headwinds, there are companies like VDL Enabling Technologies Group that we saw in the earlier story that are opening new state-of-the-art facilities here. How does that square with the latest PMI data?
Well, when companies invest, these are typically long-term investments. So they will not invest, especially for large capital investment type investments like factories, without looking at it from a medium and long-term perspective. So the changes in, the tariff structure would probably be a more short-term impact. Of course, companies will diversify. That is definitely the case. But in terms of making large-scale investments, these are fairly long-term decisions. So they would already have thought about, where they want to locate and how, for example, being here would give them, access to regional markets or being able to achieve a certain level of supply chain resilience in terms of business continuity, in terms of being able to export and import raw materials as well, right? And export the finished goods to other countries.
Professor Goh, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. Associate Professor Goh Pui Guan from the NUS Business School.